Hey guys, this is Owen Productions, aka 4673, and I stopped working for a moment there. And this is Reflections on the River, the next NaNoRenO game in the line. And I don't know anything about it except it is not an otome game. So if you come for romance, you will be disappointed. But hopefully it'll be good either way. Yeah, let's go. Once upon a time, in a faraway kingdom, there lived a king and a queen. The kingdom was small and modest, but the king and queen loved each other and their country very much. There was one thing missing from their humble yet happy lives. Despite their most desperate wishes, the heavens never deigned to bless them with a child. The king and queen eventually took in a young prince from a nearby land and cared for him as though he was their own. Years went by, but still the queen never gave up hope of providing the kingdom with an heir of her own. Distraught at losing yet another child, she fell into a deep sadness. Neither the king nor the prince could bring a smile back to her face. Against his better judgment, the king soon sought help from a wandering witch who had settled in their capital city. The king returned to his beloved queen with the witch at his side. The witch promised them their greatest desire, a child born in good health, with a little more than a simple wave of the hand. True to the words, the king and queen welcomed a princess to the kingdom a year later. Though the subjects of the kingdom rarely caught a glimpse of the elusive princess, all said that she was a good omen. With her birth came plentiful crops, booming trade, and an influx of travelers. The kingdom grew prosperous, and the capital was an envy to all the neighboring lands, a sparkling gem afloat atop of rivers. However, the good fortune of the kingdom did not only incite envy in the neighboring lands, but in a certain witch. The witch felt betrayed for not receiving more fame or fortune for helping the king and queen. The witch appeared on the doorstep of the palace 3 times, and each time demanded the most precious jewel in the royal treasury. The king and the queen turned the witch away each time, and after the 3rd time the witch disappeared for many years. At last, the kingdom knew peace. The king and queen thought that they had heard last from the selfish witch until one day. I shoved the guard out of my way roughly. I demand an audience with the king and queen. You do well to learn how to speak to your betters. I don't see any of them here. His hand reached for his blade, but I still continued to march forward, walking past him. My hand was primed to throw a spell his way, should he even dare to attempt to. I will teach you a place, peasant. Shall I teach you not to mess with a witch? He had begun unsheathing his sword when... Hold! The guard froze in his tracks, and I looked up at the voice of his great rescuer. You may step forward. Really not going to call the guards on me? What he's playing at? I cautiously made my way towards the throne. The king and queen both surveyed me with cold eyes as I approached, and I tried my best to maintain a defiant expression on my face. One kneels in the presence of royalty, scum. That will not be necessary. Please state your business so we can be done here. You know what I'm after. Give me the jewel. I'm afraid your greed has gotten the best of you, my good witch. I gritted my teeth. The nobles and servants alike eyed me with disdain. I spat on the ground before the king, and the guards immediately leapt towards me. The king, however, waved them away with his hand lazily. You once lent your aid, and I am grateful for it. Lend your aid. I would present you with almost any boon you could ask for, but our kingdom's most prized possession, you ask for too much. I beg you, my friend, please reconsider. That jewel is mine. I am afraid not. Well, if you will not change your mind, I am truly sorry if you must turn out this way. Guards! There were more this time, and need Rome marching their way into the throne room. They were almost upon me, and I had to think fast. Wait! I think I do see something I shall take instead of my jewel. I saw a glimmer in the king's eye. Pray tell, my old friend, what is it that catches your interest? In exchange for my services, I took a step to the side, putting a little distance between me and the guards. Oh gods, I better be able to pull this off or else. In exchange for my services, in lieu of my duel, I will. I've only stalled for so long. I quickly looked at my surroundings. Well, here goes nothing, I guess. I will take your child. I punctuated this statement with small explosions from my hand, distracting the onlookers and filling the room with smoke. The smoke screen I brought up as a barrier wouldn't last, so I had these few precious moments to grab my bargaining chip. With little time to spare, I looked over to the first royal that caught my eye. Oh, we have to choose to take the prince or the princess. Of course, the obvious choice was to take the princess, but I'm not that evil. Ha! You got what was given to you. Now I will steal your prince. Yeah, I gave you a princess, but in the end I'll take the prince instead. And my gaze landed on the prince. I guess you'll do. I took a few steps towards the prince when someone placed themselves in my way. They even stretched out their arms to prevent me from pushing past them. Here was the princess. What? Stop. I will not take you. You will not take one more step towards him, peasant. Oh wow, nice. Take me instead, if you must. Her sudden announcement silenced the whole room as the smoke dissipated. Fuck. Yanyu, stop this. It's okay, Sheen. I know my dear father and mother will save me, so this is the least I can do for them. The peace of our noble kingdom should not be disturbed by your kind of people. Despite her trembling voice, she spoke with such conviction. Quite touching. Oh, it doesn't matter to me either way. I grabbed her arm and started for the exit. Some guards immediately lunged after us, but they were easily dissipated with a flick of my hand. That was close. The telltale sound of their bodies hitting the floor was the only proof I needed. I didn't waste my time turning around to check up on my handiwork. What was that? Just a small gift from yours truly. It would be wise to not underestimate my powers, your highness, for that is not all I am capable of. We ran until... Wait a sec, so we have to take the princess no matter what? Oh man, I was looking forward to having taking the prince on an adventure. I wonder if we try to take the prince, what will happen? Okay, so if we go for the princess, we get the prince, and if we go for the prince, we get the princess. So yeah, it's really, really weird like that. But I wanted the prince, so I've taken the prince now. Several guards had already started after us, and I dispatched them easily with a flick of my hand. I had little time to turn around to check, but I trusted the telltale sound of bodies colliding with the floor. We burst out of the building at full speed. The guards would catch up to us soon, but at least the prince seemed cooperative. I probably should have planned this out a better. I'm nearly at my limit. With another swift movement of my hand, I brought up another smoke screen outside the palace doors. Nothing fancy, just the same trick I pulled earlier. There was no court magician looking to impress the nobles. The smoke would do its job in delaying the mob, and that was all I could ask for. Pick up the pace, would you? Try not to breathe in any of that. The prince seemed interested in the smoke I had conjured. I guess it didn't take much to impress this particular noble. I tucked his sleeve impatiently. I know my handiwork is exciting stuff, but come on. Been running for a while. I'm pretty sure we lost the guards. They shouldn't be too familiar with this part of town anyway. It seemed as though the prince had come to the same conclusion as he had slowed down, or maybe he just got tired. The two of us walked at a comfortable pace in silence for a good time before we reached the door of my home. This is it. He eyed the outside of my house slowly. The expression on his face was hard to read, but I couldn't imagine his impression of my lodging was particularly positive. I lived in one of the poorer areas of Jiansheng, and it was easy to tell. Excuse me. On our way here, the fancy buildings, paved riverside, and walkways in the city center had slowly been replaced by the rickety stilt houses and rotting wooden planks. You had to watch your step around here, both metaphorically and literally. I had difficulty believing the prince would ever have been to a place like this. It's certainly not the grand palace you're used to, but this is as good as it gets. I did not say anything. While your way. I gave him a hard shove into the house and stepped in after him. The prince seemed surprised at the surroundings he now found himself in. He stood in front of the doorway, and I skirted around him. Once inside, I pulled my hood back. The thing was great for dramatic effect, but sort of impaired my periodical vision. Are we a man or a woman? I am sorry for asking. I think we're a man. There's no, maybe we're gender neutral, that'd be pretty cool. There's really no need to gape at everything. You'll have plenty of time to see the sights, I assure you. He gave little more than a grunt in response. He is surprisingly, indifferent about the whole thing, the whole being kidnapped thing. Oh, I sat myself. I'm just gonna say, I love this art style. That's what sold me on the game at first. That's because I really, really like the art style. It's so different, and I really like them. The backgrounds are lovely. They're really cool. He gave me little more than a grunt in response. I sat myself at the table and gestured for him to take a seat too, which he did. It's nice to have a willing prisoner, I guess. He glanced at me, silent as ever. Would be nice if you were talkative too. That's just me being picky. I found myself looking around the room too. He wasn't exactly making this easy, but I suppose I couldn't blame him. I decided to busy myself with something. Shall I make us tea then? I guess I'll take your silence as sure I do love me some tea. It took a while for me to bring the water to a boil, and at that time we did not exchange a single word. Oh, look at the lights! Hey, that's a really nice touch. Even it's lighting on the walls. That's a really nice touch. The prince sat at the table, barely moving, not even bothering to escape. Was he that intimidated by just a few smoke screens? I brought the tea to the table and I poured 2 cups. I slipped one over to him while taking a sip from my own. He looked at it, but did not drink. Relax, it's just regular tea, not some witch's brew. Nothing fancy, mind you. I can't afford that imported stuff. If it'll put you at ease, I'll even swap cups with you. It is fine. Oh, well, good. You'll notice that I was quite the welcoming host. You got the cup, with the smaller chip in it. He said nothing, but he finally took a small sip from his cup. I took it as a good sign. As far as kidnappers go, I felt like it was a rather kind and gentle one. That did not go as smoothly as it could have. Oh, he speaks. It is just an observation. I'm sure someone like you has a lot to contribute on this matter. I know what I'm doing. I once believed witches to be quite wise. What's that supposed to mean? How could kidnapping me help you in any way? I assume you're only after the kingdom's prized jewel. That jewel rightfully belongs to me, not the kingdom. He waved my last statement away dismissively. So your girl is kidnapping me to use me as currency in a banter. Well, yeah. The prince did something surprising then. He laughed a light chuckle before returning to his stone-faced silence. Look, I was in a hurry and I have to think on my feet. Thought back at my decision, wondering if I had made the right one. I think we'll be honest with him. It's always good to be honest. We did kinda mess up, but I saved scum. You ever had to make a decision that fast? Probably not. Oh, I bet your man's servants just sit around for hours and oh, your highness, what do you do for fancy for a snack today? It was just an observation. I know I made a mistake, alright? Leave it. You came along willingly. I suppose it is true if you account for the fact that you had threatened my sister, the heir to the throne. Well, either way, don't forget that you're a prisoner here. You're free to wander around the house as you like, but there are warding spells in the place. I'd advise you not to attempt to escape. I would not dream of it. Well, good. That's good. I turned to leave. There was a slightly lumpy bed calling my name, but I was very tired. Just a moment of your time, please. If my peasant tea gave you indigesting, the chamber pot is through that door. No, that is not what I meant. Then what? Might I at least know the name of my kidnapper, in case I have to file a report with the city guard of Sheng later, of course. Sheng. I'm in your care, Sheng. Alright, then, sure. I made my way up to the ladder, ready for my well-deserved rest. He's definitely making a dash for the chamber pot at the second I climb to the top. Morning seemed to come far too soon. Perhaps the showdown at the palace was more draining than I was trying to tell myself it was. In any case, I'd still had important errand to run. The prince seemed to have found yesterday tiring too, judging from the light snoring coming from the storage room in the back. I love how we just threw him in the storage room. That's great. We took the bed ourselves. Fuck no. Either way, I have to end the episode here. I will see you in the next one. Bye.